This is Kelso Sturgeon. Welcome to the weekend of Football Handicapping 101. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. You know, first of all, I sometimes have to really stretch my imagination to understand how some of these coaches, especially in the NFL, ever get their jobs. You know, the great John Unitas, the great quarterback of the old Baltimore Colts, was a friend of mine, and he had such a dislike for coaches that it was almost irrational. But he did make a statement that I believe in. He said, "Kelso, there are no geniuses coaching in the National Football League." And I guess I could offer up right now Mike Shanahan of the Washington Redskins, who I consider a good coach as long as John Elway was playing at Denver, and a very mediocre coach after he left. The Redskins are about to find that out. That loss at St. Louis last week was no accident. This guy doesn't have a clue. If he has the talent, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But nobody takes the cake this season like Josh McDaniel, the genius who's coaching the Denver Broncos. Let me just tell you, he's got rid of 4 standout players and is struggling now at 1 and 2. Let me tell you what these standout players did or have done. Peyton Hillis, the running back, has rushed 22 times for 144 yards and a touchdown and caught 7 passes for 36 yards against Baltimore. Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver, has 10 receptions, 166 yards and a touchdown in the Dolphins' loss to the New York Jets. Tony Scheffler caught 7 passes for 60 yards for the Detroit Lions. And you know, there's Jay Cutler, the quarterback. He sent him packing. He's 3-0 with the Chicago Bears right now. They're no geniuses coaching in the NFL, and the more they try to tell you that they are, don't listen. They're not. Now this weekend is a big one for me. On Saturday, 3 giant plays. My 50-unit college game of the week. It's on national television. My 25-unit college upset game of the week. And my 25-unit Saturday night special. That's on Saturday. 3 big games. On Sunday, my 50-unit NFL game of the week. 2-1 in that game thus far this season. Intend to get all the cash again this weekend. Don't miss any of these plays. Now to the handicapping segment of this video. You know, I'm a great believer in the bounce factor, and I'm going to share with you some teams in the colleges and some teams in the pros that are ready to bounce this week. Now the bounce factor simply says that if a team plays far over its head one week, it will play far below it the following week, vice versa. If it plays far below it one week, it'll play far over it the next week. We have the positive bounce and the negative bounce. I'm a great believer in a team coming off the negative bounce. I think they win twice as many times on the next game back as do teams that have played great and are about to fall. Anyway, in the colleges this week, here's some teams coming off of negative performances and should bounce sky high and quite possibly win and cover this weekend. These are not recommendations. I'm just sharing the data with you. Notre Dame, a 2.5-point favorite at Boston College, coming off a terrible negative performance against Stanford. Texas, a 3-point underdog against Oklahoma in that traditional battle, coming off an awful performance against UCLA. And BYU, a 5-point favorite at Utah State, could not have played worse than it did against Nevada in losing last week. So in the colleges, 3 teams coming off the negative: Notre Dame, Texas, and BYU. I'm not saying you should bet on them, I'm saying you should look at them. In the NFL, 2 games. The Green Bay Packers, they're a 14-point home favorite over Detroit, coming off a bad game against the Chicago Bears, where they lost, made every mistake in the world. And the Houston Texans, who just got buried by the Dallas Cowboys, they're a 3-point favorite at Oakland. So in the pros, you might want to give a shot or a look to the Green Bay Packers and to the Houston Texans this week. And once again, this is not to say they all should win, but I certainly would give them a second look, and I might just want to bet on them. Thank you very much for watching Handicapping 101. I'll be back here early next week with another go-round.